Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. That's how I start all my videos on my channel. So thanks to Techjoomla for the invitation to speak today. I'm not sure why I'm going first because Phil is in the UK where it's daytime, and here it is 5:30 in the morning. So I could have used that extra half hour probably to wake up. But we're all here and it's good. And so, again, thanks for the invite. A little bit more about myself. I live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. That's Victoria's on the southern tip of Vancouver Island, right on the left coast of Canada. And it is a beautiful place. I've lived here coming up on 25 years since we moved here. I am married to Susan. We just celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary. We have 3 kids. Each of them are married, and between them all, we have 5 grandchildren. So, yeah, that's just a bit more about me. I've been involved. I've used Joomla before there was a Joomla. Back in, I became a refugee from Dreamweaver when I discovered Mambo, just playing around with some quick installs on a web hosting account that I had back in, I guess it's 16 years ago, right? So more than 16 years ago. And it never looked back for as far as making web pages, because I was, I'm not a coder. I don't get a thrill from coding either. I'd like to get my content up and keep going. That's what I needed to be doing. And so just discovering the template system, it kept me from making all my sites square and boxy like with Dreamweaver. So then over the years, the Joomla it came along after Mambo, after the fork happened, and then there's 1.5 and 1.7 and 2.5, and then 3 came out. And probably in the last 5 years, I've been full-time in my business, doing web things and other consulting things. I realized that I've done a lot of taking over the years from the Joomla project. I benefit quite a bit. And so I started getting more involved in trying to give back what I can. So like I said, I'm not a coder, but what I found when I was trying to find solutions for issues with things that I was struggling with my sites or need to fix, as we all do from time to time, I would read fixes for issues in forums, or I'd be reading documentation that developers had made. And it was in a language and sort of like a genre that I just did not understand, that was just new to me. And so it would sometimes take me a couple of hours to figure out, because there'd be a reference to some point that that I could tell was very key, but I had no idea what they were talking about. And so once I figured it out, I thought, oh, I can probably demonstrate how to do that in a few minutes now that I've got my head around it. So that's when I started making tutorials just to quickly put up on a YouTube channel. And so I'm a dumb guy that makes tutorials for other people that are in the same situation as me. And so that over the years has grown and really added to my enjoyment of Joomla, and also opened up some doors, I guess, along the way to let me meet Joomla people. So and become a much more active part of the community. So today, as it was said, I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about managing expectations in Joomla, because I think that's a really important topic for us as Joomla 4 is out. It's an important topic for just Joomla generally, and I think it's an important topic for life as well, because I want to be happy. The things that I am doing in life, I want to enjoy them. I want them to be something that is a pleasant experience for me, an asset to my life, not something that's a source of drain or pain. And I have found that part of getting the most out of things in my life is managing my expectations. So one of my favorite stories about expectations is also a story about optimism. Is a story about a child, a little boy who is so positive in everything in life. His parents noticed this, and it bothered his dad. So his dad decided, look, this kid needs to learn how to deal with disappointment. And so it decided one Christmas morning that for a present, he was going to he just wrap up some dog poop and put it underneath the Christmas tree for his son. And sure enough, Christmas morning came, the kid comes running down the stairs from his bedroom. He's there, he starts opening presents. He opens up this box full of dog poop, and then just gets totally excited and running around and starts looking at all of his other presents. And his dad says to him, he says, "What is up with you?" He says, why are you so excited? That's just a box of dog poop." And the boy says to his dad, he says, I know, there's got to be a puppy somewhere." Now, that's probably not a good example of excellent parenting. And I'm sure that if that were a true story, that kid would end up in counseling with parents like that. But the thing that I really like about that story is that it really speaks to the fact that there are some people that are just super positive, and there are other people that are not super positive. That if they were to open a box of dog poop on Christmas morning, they would not be surprised because they just sort of expect bad things to happen. And a lot of that comes down to what we expect is going to happen in life, and what we expect the meaning or the things that are happening in our life means for our life. So there's really three areas I'm going to talk about today about managing expectations for Joomla. And that's one is just the Joomla project overall, managing our expectations for Joomla 4, where we're at right now at the beginning, and then also helping our clients for manage the expectations for their sites, or the changes in the works the work is going to come along. And I realize that some of you watching this maybe are just watching because you have a Joomla site and that's something you'd like to work on for yourself. But I think that if you know how to work on a Joomla site, then you have some skills that you could start to help some other people. And you never know, you might reach the point where you make a little money on the side or enjoy from that. So hang in for that last bit, even if you don't have clients. So managing expectations overall in the Joomla project. It's easy to see what the expectations are for something by paying attention to the disappointment that comes out in the midst of it. And we're very familiar with the disappointments that are regular and routine in the Joomla project. There's a disappointment that more people don't do testing. And so that reflects that there's an expectation that everybody should do testing. There's a disappointment that some people are negative or have an impact on our community in a very non-positive way. There's disappointment with that. And so we see in that there's expectation that everybody should be able to be happy and kind and loving to each other. There's also the expectation that people who come along with good ideas after something's being released, or there's a disappointment that when people who come along with good ideas after a release has been made and they haven't tested, that, well, yeah, sure, they have good ideas, but really they didn't test, so why, just and get dismissed. And that shows this again, that expectation that if you're going to contribute something, you have to do the heavy lifting of testing. And now, of course, we are in debt to the people who test and who know how to do that and who are passionate about it. But those are just some of the expectations that we have in the Joomla project. And I think that those are lofty things to want, and they are absolutely necessary. So I'm not, please don't make the mistake of thinking, if you think I'm saying, oh, he's just telling everyone that you don't have to test. But I think it really speaks to the point of the difference between a desire and an expectation. Because we can desire things and realize that maybe those things aren't going to happen. But when we expect them, they become musts. And then when they don't happen, they really throw us off. So one of the things that I have noticed, and I've just started trying to build a team. I'm not very good at it. All right, I'm very good at doing solo stuff. But as work grows for me and my business, I thought, okay, I need help. I need to start building a team. So I need to grow those skills to do that, because probably some of that team is watching. But I started noticing, and I've noticed for years, that people who have businesses are constantly moaning and complaining that good help is hard to find, or that someone that they gave a project to or some responsibility to drop the ball, and why don't they do this, or why aren't they smarter, and just grumbling and just generally being unhappy. And I've seen it enough that I have realized that the desire to have good help is great, but the expectation that you will always find it or always have it is unrealistic. And the reason that I want to make that, the reason that I make that differentiation in my life is this, is that as I start to build a team, or as I start to try to figure out how to grow my business so that it's not just me, I realize that that's just always going to be a struggle. That's just always going to be something that I need to learn to deal with. And also, that's just the reality when people are working job. And probably I'm quite sure when I have done things for other people that they wondered why I didn't think of everything. I mean, that's why they were the boss. That's why they owned the business, right? So what I've decided is that I don't want to have my own business and be grumpy all the time. So I've just I realize I need to manage my expectations and change them. So instead of expecting that everything will be easy and that every single person puts a hand to anything in my business is just going to be stellar, my expectation now is that there's just going to be more work. And realistically, there's not a business anywhere in the world that just hums along without some hiccups along the way. And so I think that we can, apply that same principle to the Joomla project. It's always going to be rough spots. Probably getting people to test things is always going to be a struggle, or it always would be nice to have more things to happen. It's just going to be normal that that the people who put a lot of work into things are maybe going to miss something, and someone's going to come along with a great idea all of a sudden and think, hey, why didn't you do this? And instead of us just living in a perpetual state of unhappiness in Joomla, then we can just manage our expectations and realize, okay, that's just how it is. I'm not saying that we have to like it all the time, but we don't have to be living in a constant state of angst and being upset because of how things are. I have a relative who is only happy they're only happy if they're unhappy about something. So they really never are happy. And so when Joomla 4 was released this summer in the middle of August, and it was released on a date when I had a lot of family coming and I had vacation planned, and I know that for a lot of the developers, a lot of people working were thinking, oh, why the middle of the summer and why this time? And I was thinking like, oh, I would love to just spend a couple of weeks slamming out videos just initially right to at the beginning. I realized, well, okay, so I've got vacation planned. I'll just have to wait a couple of weeks before I start doing things. But after waiting so long for Joomla 4 to be released and talking so much about it, I decided I'm just going to be happy that it's out. Even though it doesn't work well even though that particular timing didn't work well for me, I thought, man, it's finally here. This is exciting. It's going to be new. It's going to be what's going to come from it. How's it going to change my life? All of these great things. So why would I just be angry about it? Or why would I dwell in frustration about it? Just that's, and it's like, oh, my expectation is, what are my expectations? Because ultimately, even though we are so passionate and love Joomla, Joomla is just a part of life. It's not life itself, and so it should. We need to manage our expectations so that it can be something positive and we enjoy the most of it along the way. And so that brings me to managing our expectations for Joomla 4. So I know I've seen some comments in on Facebook and in different discussions where, I saw one comment where someone says, "Oh, well, there's still so many extensions to come out for Joomla 4, and if a developer doesn't have them ready by now, I think they're probably not a good developer." And I was like, "Well, okay, that's one perspective." There's been comments about why things aren't extensions aren't ready to come out, and that I think part of the realistic thing that we need, expectations that we have to have about Joomla 4 right at this point in time that we're at, is that a lot is just the very nature of much of the development that takes place in Joomla, and that is there are some solo developers who don't have large teams, maybe even for the very reason that I've talked about earlier, but and lots of extensions, and it's going to take them a while to switch over. There are some companies that have some pretty large things underway that it's going to take a while for them to test and get everything going. I was talking a message with Ramesh from J2 Store, and I said, "Hey," because I have a client that needs a shopping cart, and I was like, "Well, I don't want to build." I'm thinking I don't want to build him a site in Joomla 3, and then later on in a week say, "Hey, I need to now you need to learn a new system because here's this new update." So I contacted Ramesh at J2 Store and said, "Hey, when do you think that J2 Store will be ready for Joomla 4?" And he said, "Well, he says we're going to have he's hoped to have a beta out at the end of October." He says because they have 200 other plugins and things to test. So I was thinking like, oh, okay. Now, would it be great to have J2 Store ready? Oh, sure, I would love that. But but really, a realistic expectation. I try to put myself in Ramesh's shoe. Can you imagine having that shopping cart extension that so many businesses are running on, making money every day, and releasing that and having to work on the first try? I would take some time too. So for those that are expecting that everything should be ready and everything should zoom along right away smoothly and everything should be there and it should just be a quick jump over from Joomla 3 because it has been released, we need to manage our expectations, because there's a lot of real people who have real responsibilities, and some of these companies too have other projects as well. Even though I say I'm make my living full time from Joomla, and I very much do, I do some narration, I do some consulting, I do some other things in my business that help me make money each month. So even for some companies, the products that they have for Joomla are not necessarily the main and only thing that they work on. The other thing, another expectation I think that we can manage for Joomla 4 is when everything really gets humming along, firing on all of its cylinders. I did some quick math, and I might be off by a couple of versions here, but I looked up all of the different versions that there were in the process along from Joomla 3. And in Joomla 3 versions, there were in Joomla 3, there were close to 80 different versions of Joomla 3 over the years. Now, when you think about that, no wonder everything's been flying along and just running tickety-boo with Joomla 3.9 and now 3.10. Why, when there's a new version, new release, just some little thing gets adjusted or something. And so much work has gone into that. And now here we are at Joomla 4.03, is it? And it's just starting. I'm really excited about Joomla 4. When I think about how great Joomla 3 is and for running and stable with the new things that are Joomla 4 and a lot of work that has gone into that, it's just going to take a little while. And as things get sorted out, if little things come up here, well, regardless of whether, oh, someone didn't test or not a tester or whatever, it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it. A lot of people have put a lot of work into it, and yeah, sure, there's things for us to talk about. Where's Joomla's place in the world of things? Where are we are we ever going to be a WordPress killer? Are we going to what's this? What's the use? Or sure, that's all discussion that we have. But my expectation is that where we are right now with Joomla 4 is that it's great. It's a great platform. Sure, there and as we build on things or find things, or as we manage our expectations, just with the various with Joomla project as it is, as an open source community with people all around the world, different language, different cultures, different skills, different responsibilities. As we manage that, we've got an exciting beginning in Joomla 4, just as we were excited when Joomla 3 came out, and just as of course there were some things that need to be done. So for Joomla 4 managing our expectations, I think let's be happy. It's here, and things are going on, and it is what it is, and we are where we are, and we just continue to make the most of it and grow from that. So managing expectations for Joomla 4. The last thing that I thought that I would mention today is how we can, as I mentioned before, how we can help our clients or our users manage their expectations for Joomla 4. So as we know, Joomla 4 is not an upgrade in the sense that just like, we click the button and update from Joomla 3.9 to 3.10. It's a migration. And it is a migration, a different path than what we did from going from 1.7 to 2.5 or whatever the version was, because now we've got it so that you don't have that meticulous having to copy your content over and actually copy it, and is being almost a migration. Is almost like a moving, right? So we've got that process, but of course, extensions need to be compatible, and it needs to be a process. Some extensions are you update them in 3.10, and if they're in 3.10 they work. Others, once you get and then you go to 4, they work. Others, you get to 4 and you still need to bump them up with something else, and it's all going to get sorted out. So for our clients that are very active or involved in their own sites, we need to help them manage their expectations that, oh, something new is here. I want the latest. We need to let them know that Joomla 3 is here and stable, and in the next while, there's some things to be switched over, and that their site is good in Joomla 3, and the exciting things of Joomla 4 will come soon enough for them. Now, for those of us that have clients who are not paying any attention to Joomla, or don't even know what Joomla is, just know that they have a website, we need to also let them know that some stuff is coming along the way. And I think what we can do is let them know about some of the new exciting developments and features of Joomla 4 and how that's going to be a plus for their sites and their business, their organization down the road. I went looking in Facebook for some really great advice that I read early on after Joomla 4 came out about how to deal with the expectations and how to help our clients and our users manage. And it's Laura Gordon said this in a discussion on Facebook, and I have it up on my screen here. And this is Laura's advice and her plan to deal with her many clients to help them have realistic expectations and understandings as she moves forward. She said, she says, I have emailed my clients this week, letting them know that between now and January, we need to have a talk, in quotes, have a talk, to review the site overall and what the cost will be for Joomla 4. Any client that the site is more than 2 years old, this could be a great opportunity for an updated look, quote unquote. So I would put the cost of the upgrade together with a design upgrade. Newer clients, I will also charge for the J4 upgrade, but it will be a project-based cost with a max hours. So if we stumble, we are both protected. The only reason why we'll have issues is if I need to switch the template or any extensions and find different options. I believe that over the next few months, this direction will be much clearer. For both sets of clients, I'll include some time to walk them through the new interface and make sure they're able to edit and have the same access and editing as they did with Joomla 3. I've moved them all over to Joomla 3.10, no problems at all. That is step one. I've been letting them know about J4 for a while by now, so no one is surprised, and they are putting aside a budget for us to do this work properly. Communication and honesty is key. I think that's an amazing example of how to help people manage with their expectations for Joomla 4. And really, it's a great model for helping your clients manage expectations as well. Just being that communication and honesty. And obviously, Laura has a plan too about how she's managing her business when she talks about planning to build them, what it's going to cost the time to do the update and the migration and other things that are going to be needed along the way, and just explaining them. It's good to have that. I like too that she is going to put everything down. About a year ago, I won a contract with a client to help them with a website, and they had a tech team in their organization and that gave very specific requirements for the project. And I worked very hard to get the proposal down and written because just to make sure that I understood their expectations, what they wanted. I tried to be very clear about my expectations. So for instance, one of the things was that they were going to supply the content and the images, which probably didn't work out that well. It's very hard to get from them, that problem. But get everything down in the proposal. And I was so glad that I did that as a way of managing the expectations and the responsibilities, because soon after that IT team I started doing the work, the staff in that situation started having ideas, and there was sort of it was very interesting how I discovered that organization made decisions by talking to everyone, let everyone have a say, and they started going off in directions that was totally outside of what the agreed proposal was. And so time and time again, I was able to say, that's not what was in the proposal. That's not what you asked me to do. And it really saved the day for me a number of times, because I was able to, instead of getting frustrated because what I expected they wanted me to do was not happening, through that communication, it really paved things over. Now, when I finished my work on that project, they let me know they were going to go in a new direction, and it didn't involve me. And I was relieved, because it was so difficult working within their decision structure, which I found out afterwards. But expectations had been managed in that change, because we had a proposal, we had things written down. The reason that I don't have anything to share on the screen today is because I hate the fiddliness of making PowerPoint presentations or screens or slides. I was going to show you a picture of my family. I couldn't even find that in time this morning just to share quickly. But one thing that I make myself struggle through, because of the expectations that people have, and in order to manage them realistically, I struggle through making sure my proposals are together. In fact, when that client said that they were going in a new direction and it was without me, they had just paid their last month of maintenance for their management for their website, and they asked for a refund of it because it was not going to be used. And I realized I had nothing in my proposal about how to cancel our maintenance agreement. So I thought, oh, I need to manage that expectation as well and have something in place. So, my big takeaway from all of this today, and not only are we talking about these things for Joomla, but also is just for life. It's important for us to have a real firm idea and understand the difference between what we wish and what is realistically going to happen. And if we learn to manage our expectations for the Joomla project, for Joomla 4, for our clients, we're going to be a lot happier. Our life is going to have a lot less stress, and that is going to carry over into into the Joomla project, into Joomla 4, into the work we do with our clients. Because when we're not stressed, we are much more pleasant to deal with, and a lot more positive things come out, and it frees our mind to come up with new solutions and new ideas and to do things better. And I find that managing expectations gives me a lot more enjoyment out of Joomla, and constantly trying to manage expectations of life makes me happier in life. And so I would wish the same thing for you as we continue on this journey with Joomla 4. Whatever comes next, what is coming next, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited about it, and glad to be on this journey with everyone. So thank you very much for your time today. Thanks for listening, and thanks Techjoomla for inviting me to take part.
Yep, thanks a lot, Tim. I think it was a pretty nice session. I mean, a little different topic, and I'm sure a lot of the examples that you gave, your own example of the other lady. I'm sure that's going to help people kind of set their own expectations, set their client expectations with how do they deal with what's Joomla 4, either an upgrade or how do they kind of plan their upgrades. And I think I think your own example about ensuring that you leave in good contract clauses for cancellation, that's also really useful. So I think a lot of great stuff coming out.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm learning as I go quite a bit in business. I don't have a business degree. This is running my own business is very different from there's carryover from what I used to do, but at each step along the way as I'm learning, just be kind to ourselves, and learn from our mistakes and pick things up and keep going and grow. And just, I mean, the same way if every version of Joomla gets better each step along the way, hopefully every version of ourselves get better each step along the way as we figure out sort out the bugs in our lives.
Yeah, I think that's some fantastic life advice as well. I mean, while we do our own upgrades, while we do our own Joomla business, I think we tend to ignore these small bits. So I think thanks a lot for reminding me and everybody else out here about those things. Cool. I think was really good, Tim.
All right. I just realized I never registered for Phil's session, so I'm going to have to quickly do that and get the link. Or maybe you could share it with me in chat here so I can click on it and watch now.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. Thanks a lot.